Today we will be exploring the world of Truman, a man who is completely unaware that his life is a TV show. Orchestrated from the day he was born, hidden cameras have captured his every move, but as the truth soon unfolds, what he does will shock you. So sit back, relax and enjoy. The movie starts off seamlessly shifting from character to character, with each one explaining the concept of the show. Through their narratives, we're introduced to the captivating premise, which is that the main character, Truman, is completely unaware that he is the unwitting star of a television show about his life. From this, we find ourselves in Truman's familiar neighborhood, witnessing his customary greetings to his neighbors. Just as he is about to get in his car, an unknown object hurtles from the heavens and crash lands onto the road just mere inches away from him. As he cautiously approaches the fallen object to investigate, it's revealed to be a studio light. He's clearly confused as he picks it up and even examines the sky above, half expecting to find an explanation for its descent, but to his surprise there was nothing in the sky that could have caused this. Despite this mysterious event, Truman brushes this off and proceeds with his drive. However, the radio in his car switches to a news channel. The reporter explains that an aircraft has recently shedded debris over his area, covering up this major mistake from the producers. The only thing wrong with this is, would he not have seen an aircraft in the sky whenever he looked up? But anyway, he reaches the harbor as he needs to go somewhere due to work commitments. He is very hesitant about going on this boat, like he's scared, but it's revealed later on why this is. Eventually, after wrestling with his inner thoughts, he makes the decisive choice to turn back and head home. Later that night, Truman's sitting at the beach by himself, alone in his thoughts, until memories flood his mind as he reminisces about the moments spent with his father on a sailboat, particularly during concerning weather conditions. The flashbacks intensify when menacing waves surged around them, leading to his father's tragic disappearance as he tumbled overboard, never to be seen again. It becomes clear now why Truman was afraid of venturing onto the boat earlier. Truman returns to his house to interrupt his wife, Meryl, while she's reading her book. He expresses his feelings about wanting to move away, but Meryl is concerned about their financial situation and refuses. However, in reality, her reluctance is not rooted in their financial concerns but rather a hidden motive to deter him from discovering the truth about him being trapped within their town, unable to venture beyond its borders. The following morning, as Truman is heading to work, he stops in his tracks because he thinks that he recognizes someone. As he turns back and walks towards him, he notices that it's his father, but before he had time to react, some people drag him away. He tries to run after them, but the producers of the Truman Show have distractions in place to hinder his progression, like joggers zooming past and random people obstructing his path. Because of the distractions, the agents were able to drag Truman's dad onto a bus and drive away. Truman goes to see his mother after this unsettling encounter, hoping for validation that he's not losing his grip on reality. She reassures him that he's not going crazy, but rather than providing the support that he needs, his mother smoothly masks the truth by skillfully gaslighting him. He gets back home and goes down to the basement, where he begins to look inside of a box. He lifts out a red jumper and on the TV screens of the outside viewers, flashbacks begin to play. All of the flashbacks are focused on this one girl, Lauren, as he has become obsessed with her, but with each flashback, she either disappears or is taken away by the agents. However, one night in the library, Truman sees Lauren sitting opposite him, but she is hesitant to speak to him as she is concerned that the agents will spot this. Eventually they get up to leave the library, unknowingly avoiding the cameras, and sneak down to the beach, but Lauren's concerns increase as she feels that there is little time left before she gets caught. Out of nowhere, a car dramatically speeds onto the beach. Just as it approaches them, she reveals to Truman an astonishing truth that everyone is aware of his existence, and they have been acting all along, hiding the reality from him. The car comes to a stop and an unknown man claiming to be her father gets out. He drags her away, but she persists in uncovering the truth that everything is fake. Eventually she gets in the car and they drive off, leaving nothing but the jumper that he kept in the box. Truman is driving to work the next morning when the radio in his car begins to glitch, causing the channel to inadvertently switch to the frequency used by the agents behind the Truman Show. They are audibly tracking his every move, instantly grabbing his attention. But they suddenly change frequencies, causing a piercing screech that freezes everyone in their tracks. I'm still confused at how he didn't see this happen, but anyway, he brushes this off and heads to work. However, in a moment of realization and confusion, he does not follow his typical routine and decides to sit on a bench to observe his surroundings. From this he rushes into an unknown building, but inside the elevator, to his shock, are the staff members of the Truman Show gathered around a snack table. Before he can process what's happening, he is dragged out by security. Now filled with confusion and uncertainty, he rushes to the shop that his friend Marlon works in. He desperately tries to explain these mysterious incidents that have occurred, but Marlon continuously shuts him down. Truman convinces him to leave work so that they can talk more privately. He continues to explain his theories about what has been happening, but Marlon continues to ignore his concerns. Truman is back at his house later that night, looking at an old photo book, until he notices an old wedding photo where Meryl is seen crossing her fingers, grabbing his attention. The following morning Truman insists on having a serious conversation about his findings, but she anxiously tries to evade his inquiries by explaining the urgency of her professional commitments as she is due to perform surgery. He is now pressed for answers, so he rushes out of the house and follows Meryl. He gets to the hospital and makes it to the operating room where he finds Meryl and her colleagues performing an amputation, but he is soon kicked out by security. Meryl returns home to find Truman sitting in the car alone, and just as she asks if he's okay, he insists that she gets in the car. He wants to demonstrate his knowledge of the scheduled routine of the passers-by as he confidently predicts the order in which people will pass by his street, the first being a lady on a red bike, followed by a man with flowers, then followed by a Volkswagen Beetle. Following this, Truman aggressively reverses out of the driveway with the goal of driving to some unknown holiday destination, but as they take a turn off at a roundabout, every turn is perfectly blocked off by other cars. Due to this, he decides to turn back, but this was to only throw the producers off as he circles back round to find the road has been completely cleared. Eventually they make it to a roadblock caused by a leak at the nuclear power plant, and as the officer explains, he accidentally says Truman's name, amplifying his suspicion. He races out of the car and desperately tries to run through the forest to get past this blockade, but he is soon tackled to the ground. Later that night, Truman and Meryl find themselves back home sitting in disbelief about the events that occurred earlier. In a subtle attempt to divert Truman's attention, Meryl discreetly attempts to advertise a cocoa brand, but this time Truman catches on and confronts her about it. This eventually results in him grabbing Meryl, and in a state of panic, she cries out for the agents to do something. This leaves Truman even more suspicious and on the edge as he questions her about what she said. While this is happening, Marlon knocks on the door and walks in, to which Meryl jumps into his arms and cries out about the situation. To calm Truman down, Marlon brings him to their go-to hangout spot and they begin to reminisce on the good old days, but everything he is saying is being orchestrated by the lead of the Truman Show, Christoph. Midway through their conversation, Marlon unexpectedly reveals that the main reason he came round was to tell Truman that he found his supposedly deceased father. As he slowly walks over to his dad, the viewers are watching vigorously as their eyes are glued to the unfolding scene, eager to witness the reunion. A few days later, everything is seemed to be back to normal as Truman continues with his typical day-to-day routine, but it's revealed that Meryl packed up and left him, resulting him to move down into the basement. This grabs the attention of Christoph and some workers as a few of the cameras were obstructed due to him moving some of his rubbish. Through further investigation, they notice on the camera feed that he escaped without being seen. As panic kicks in, all of the residents in the town go out searching for him, but with no luck, they couldn't find him. In a last-ditch effort to control the situation, Christoph demands that the sun must rise, defying the laws of nature and reality itself. As they are looking for him, Christoph realizes that they aren't watching any sea, so they decide to watch the harbor, and surprisingly they spot him out in a sailboat. As he's sailing, he's looking at a photo that he created using features of models' faces stuck together, which is supposed to resemble Lauren, the girl that he has been obsessed with. Christoph and the team devise a plan to stop Truman, which involves them creating a storm. Truman is seen powering his way through the storm while desperately attempting to steer the boat, until he falls overboard. Panic sets in for the viewers, until he rises above the sea level and makes his way back to the boat. The viewers celebrate as he gets back onto the boat and taunts the producers, but they did not like this, so in retaliation, they capsize his boat. With him now presumed dead, everyone watches with hope that he is still alive. Christoph realizes that he has gone too far and eases the weather conditions, which uncovers a clear image of Truman lying there unconscious. But to everyone's shock, he wakes up and continues to sail the boat, until it hits the edge of the globe. The truth has now been officially uncovered to him. Every aspect of his existence, from his closest relationships to his proudest achievements, crumbles before his eyes. The people he believed to be friends and loved ones were merely actors, playing their roles with precision and deception. The accomplishments he once held dear were nothing but hollow achievements, carefully staged for his benefit. The movie ends with Truman leaving his old life behind to start his new life, with all of the viewers jumping with joy. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and remember to turn on notifications to get the best rap cinema updates.